Next point is that there's going to be a return to orthodoxy. And what do you mean by that? Just look at this. 10 developing countries with biggest twin deficits. You mean fiscal plus external account deficit. And India is in the top 10 of the world in terms of, so this is a worry, and now orthodoxy means change that.
Yeah, no, in terms of the point I'm making here is this, which is that because the era of easy money is over, interest rates have gone higher everywhere and financing in general has become much more difficult. In this environment, the scope for policymakers to do something too experimental, something away from what is defined as economic orthodoxy, which is that you need to follow a tight fiscal policy, you need to have relatively high interest rates. If you try to do something different, the market's going to come and punish you. And we saw that in the last year or so. Exhibit A being UK, where Liz Truss tried to do something too different in terms of cutting taxes and still not cutting spending and thinking she can blow the fiscal deficit out. The markets revolted and she in fact lost her job.
So the world now looks very closely at deficits, your twin deficit.
So the focus has come back. When money was easy and there was too much plenty around, you could finance a lot of bad economics and bad behavior.
Unorthodox
stuff, so to speak. Now the scope is very limited. The good news for India is the fact that we have generally followed an orthodox economic script, that even though we have large deficits, we are not blowing them out. And one of the things which I did sort of commend even the current folks for was the fact that we did not overstimulate too much, because there was so much pressure
to overstimulate, etc.
To stimulate and do that. And I think that, that some countries which did it, including Brazil and others, paid a price for it. So I think it's very important.
Back to orthodoxy, and to some extent India has been reasonably orthodox in its fiscal and fiscal management. You see, India has actually been unpunished so far, according to your data, due to fiscal orthodoxy. We've been careful. India's fiscal balance has improved a little bit, while the rest of the world, in terms of emerging markets, it's got much worse.
This is what happened in the last year, which is the fact that these forecasts changed, where India saw some improvement. So for now, even as I think that, that they present the budget, I think that the focus should be on orthodoxy and not any experimentation, because the temptation will be, with an election coming up in 2024, let's spend more, let's do more like SOPs and stimulus.
In the run-up to elections.
And you do not want the market to revolt against that, because that will be a real problem.
Very, very true.